I've asked for the next level. I've asked to be like the next version of myself and the next version of my business. And every time I ask for that, there's things that come up that allow me to challenge my current habits of thought. And it's really up to me on whether or not I'm going to regress or move forward. I would be lying if I said that I was amazing, which normally I am. I'm in the storm, the eye of this, like not the eye of the storm, before the eye of the storm. I'm in that weird wonky, like you're sliding across a deck and like water's coming up and you're like, oh, hold on to something place. And I'm really grateful to be here.
Welcome to the Work Less, Play More podcast for busy entrepreneurs who are ready to ditch the hustle, stop burning out on busy work, and get back to having a life. My name is Lindsay Johnson, aka The Radical Connector, and I've spent the last 10 years teaching first-time entrepreneurs how to get customers and make money. Listen in as I chat with other hustle recovering business owners as we share our top tips for, you guessed it, working less and playing more. Let's do this.
Friends, I am so excited for us to get to hang out with Cheryl Sutherland from Please Notes today. So if you haven't met Cheryl yet, she is a transformational speaker, a business strategist, and founder of Please Notes, a for-purpose company of affirmation-filled products. Cheryl felt restless and underwhelmed at her 9-to-5, and after spending over 1,400 hours learning and facilitating personal development, coaching, and reigniting her inner creativity, Cheryl created a company that inspires women to step into their own power by building confidence, clarity, and creativity. As a women's empowerment expert, author, and entrepreneur, Cheryl Sutherland and Please Notes have been featured in InStyle, Huffington Post, Forbes, Fast Company, American Express Open Forum, Thrive Global, Brit & Co, Travel Noir, and on podcasts such as The Creative Empire, I Love Success, No Filter with Phil Fallon, and of course now, the Work Less, Play More podcast. Now, as with most of our guests, we get into it today and we get deep around what it means to deal with feelings of not good enough, the inability to receive abundance, mindset pitfalls that might be keeping you from earning the money you are working hard to attract, and of course, the deep personal growth inherent in building a business and those little triggers that come up when we start to get some success and are faced with that ultimate choice of stepping into something bigger for ourselves or regressing into where we used to be. All right, are you ready? Let's do this, friends.
Cheryl Sutherland, welcome. Welcome to the podcast. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. How are you, Lindsay Johnson? Thank you for having me on your podcast.
I'm just great. I'm just great. I'm looking forward to our conversation because I know that we always share equal parts ridiculousness and silliness and like mic drop moments. So I'm looking forward to digging in today. How are you feeling on this summer day here?
It's trying to play it's not summer over here. However, it's very interesting. There's been a lot of transitions that have happened in the last couple of weeks. Or if you don't know, which would make no sense because we've known each other for years. But I actually have, of course, my line of affirmation filled goods. It's basically, I have a personal growth brand, and that was on my vision board from like a hot minute ago. However, I've onboarded some new interns, and there's just a lot of stuff that I'm wading through right now. I think I've asked for the next level. I've asked to be like the next version of myself and the next version of my business. And every time I ask for that, there's things that come up that allow me to challenge my current habits of thought. And it's really up to me on whether or not I'm going to regress or move forward. I would be lying if I said that I was amazing, which normally I am. I'm in the storm, the eye of this, like not the eye of the storm, before the eye of the storm. I'm in that weird wonky, like you're sliding across a deck and like water's coming up and you're like, oh, hold on to something place. And I'm really grateful to be here.
I love it. Welcome. Welcome in all your storminess. You said so many great things there. I was having a hard time not interrupting you because you said so many great things. And I think that is a very relatable place for a lot of entrepreneurs who have been asking, are starting to receive, the level up is coming. We can panic. Like you talked about that. Do I regress or do I stand up? Do you want to tell us a little bit about what is like where the level up is happening right now? Are you comfortable sharing that?
Yeah, of course. With you, Lindsay, you get everything, girl. All of me gives all to you. Anyway, I think that it's when you know the truth. You know how amazing your business can be, how big it can be, but then you also are very cognizant of where you're at right now.
Mm.
And I think that there's this quote by Michael Bernard Beckwith that I love, and it's all the pain will push until the vision pulls. And right now, where I've been growing in my business is it's been usually equal parts, or usually it's been like the vision has been pulling me. But right now, it's at this point where I cannot continue to keep running my life in this way where these thought processes are holding me back from the magic. Like, I know success is easy and I know that it can be easy. However, obviously, there's something that I keep doing over and over again that's causing for me to be in this place.
Mm-hmm.
So even just, and it's not necessarily what's actually happening outside of myself, it's more within myself, that no matter what the situation that I'm in, whether I have a successful Kickstarter, whether I bring on new VAs, whether I like land a really big contract, I consistently feel like it's not enough and that I'm still not where I want to be. However, I know the thing that I have the opportunity to start choosing into and choose to be my undeniable truth is that, like, I'm done. Like, that thing that I've been reaching for, that mountain that I've been climbing, that I've achieved the thing that I wanted to achieve. I've achieved the success that I wanted to achieve, that I've been able to just create the things that I want to achieve in my life, and that I'm here and I'm so excited for it to be here.
There is this quote that I shared on Instagram the other day. You are not a failure. You're just impatient. And what you just said, it just put that quote into the front of my mind here, because there is this level of impatience, and whether it's subconscious or not, where we think we should be where we're not. We think we should be further ahead. We think we should be over something. And so we deem ourselves as failure or inadequate or somehow lacking if we're not at this place, forgetting that life is a flipping process and a journey. And you talked about that regression, and sometimes we regress, and that's also part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that impatience is coming from a place of feeling inadequate or feeling like an imposter, or is it not even registering and you're just here for the ride? Like, where does that come in for you?
It's funny because I love the fact that I noticed it, because the way you do one thing is the way you do everything.
Yeah.
So in my journaling practice, I was like, okay, Cheryl, WTF, where else is this showing up?
Yeah.
It's showing up in my relationship with food. If I'm presented with a plethora of cupcakes, how do I say no to this? I can't say no. Who's going to eat this? I know it'll get eaten, but it also shows up in when I work out, in more energy here, or save it because I need it to make sure that I finish and I last. It shows up in my business, the not enoughness. Like, am I doing the right thing? Am I focused in the right area? When will I finally hit that thing? Or when will I finally hit that goal? I just am ready for this next step. Or even when it comes to finances, like, there's never enough money in my bank account, even though I could have like a gang in there, never enough for all the things that I want to do. Can I actually afford to do this event? Or is it a smart decision for me to pay $500 for this event that I'm not sure about? And then, of course, like, even in my spiritual practice and in my meditation, while I'm meditating, it'll show up as in, I'm not like feeling the disconnect, or are you actually like wasting time doing this? Like, it'll show up in so many ways. And really, what is the heart of that conversation? What is the heart of that thought process? And being willing to be brave enough to explore that, and not only explore it, but choose into practicing what it is that I want. So that's where I've been really, I guess, really growing and really flexing. And this is within the last 24 hours of really choosing again and forgiving myself for even just believing that thought process and carrying it forward for so long. So I'm excited to see what I'm able to create.
It's the not enoughness. It's interesting to hear you talk about the not enoughness in yourself. Like, why am I not enough, or where am I feeling not enough? And then the not enoughness out externally, right? Not enough money, not enough cupcakes. Too many
Never
cupcakes.
enough.
Never enough cupcakes or ice cream. Give me all the ice cream. One of the things that I do want to talk about, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. You are the Queen of Affirmations. There's no doubt, right? Law of attraction, manifestation, affirmations, like, this is your space. One of the things that can turn toxic for people is when we internalize like an inner failing. Like we think, well, I'm saying this affirmation, it should be working. What am I doing wrong? I guess it's a sense of spiritual bypassing in a way, that idea that I just have to be positive and not actually do the work, but also this self-blame, like it's internalized blaming of ourselves as somehow not good enough because I'm saying the affirmation, it's not working. Do you ever feel like you unconsciously blame yourself when things aren't working?
All the time.
Okay, tell me about that.
That's because even from when I was a very young child, I held the responsibility for everyone.
Yeah.
So I think it probably has something to do with being the child of divorced parents, or being the youngest, or being just really sensitive. I was always such a sensitive child. I would always pick up on people's energies and emotions. And because of that, I felt like it was my responsibility to make them feel good. So I would often be different people around different people, or not necessarily like different things, but I was very malleable to what I thought this person needed to hear, or this person needed in order to feel good, or to feel happy, or to feel loved. And this has been fun because one of the things that I've had the opportunity to grow up and grow through has been my need to make sure that everybody's okay, but then also like really discovering who I am and what I want, and just being okay with asking for it. Yeah. So let's say, for example, like even when it comes to my business, there's certain things that I'm just all, nope, this is a color, or nope, this is what I want. And I'm able to be very discerning, and I have no energy attached to it. However, with certain things, like I was looking at my Instagram and I'm just all like, how is it possible that I have 60 people follow me this week, and then at the same week, like 70 people unfollow me? I'm like, how do I don't hit the unfollow button. Who is unfollowing me? What should I be posting? Do I need to change the reels? What is this content that I'm doing? And it's so harrowing, and it's so exhausting, because like, it's very indicative of, are people even seeing my content? I can easily spiral out when it comes to that. Am I not enough? What do I need to do? What should I be doing better? All this other stuff. And so one of the things that I had decided this morning when I was having my morning coffee, I try to do my morning coffee on the lawn. So I'm like standing there in my backyard with my bare feet there, just like sipping. And occasionally my neighbors are just like, I'm here. And I'm like in my bonnet, and really like just letting me, like just saying yes to the things that I want to do, and leading this business from true authenticity. Like, these are the things that I want to bring to fruition. This is the colors that I want. This is like the content that I want to put out. And then so right now, I think where I have the best opportunity to grow is within my content. Am I actually sharing the stories that I want to share? Or am I censoring myself to be like, well, people don't really care about the law of attraction. No, that's why they're following you. And I know that when I am working in alignment and creating those things, that's when all the people that I want to attract are I'm gonna attract, and they're gonna play with my content. And people are going to be able to see my content way more than they're seeing it now. I feel like I'm still in that weird muddly place where I'm just all like, I think this is good, or, oh, this is cool, versus we're only posting stuff for people that are in business. We're only posting stuff for people that are struggling with confidence. I'm going to do more reels around like building your confidence, your self-esteem, dealing with anxiety, that sort of stuff. So now I have the opportunity to really bring that together and just continue to hold that space of, this is what I want, which for me is a little bit scary. One thing I did want to say in regards to like that lovely little thing about the affirmations. Yeah. So I love this because affirmations do work. However, there's a very clear idea and feeling that you have to have behind them. If you're saying an affirmation from a place of scarcity, like, I need this to work, or please, can I have this? It's not going to work. What you're attracting right there is just more lack and limitation. And it's just not going to be conducive to you growing and really bringing in the things that you want. However, if you're able to say something, it's like asking for something, like asking for a gift. And that was always so hard for me, to even ask to be loved in a certain way, to ask for like just even little things, like things from my parents and stuff. I didn't want to be an inconvenience. I didn't want to be in the way. And then so when you're asking using your affirmations, you have to understand that the universe is just here to give you all the things that you want. However, you have to be able to just ask for them, or point to them, or just say yes to them, because there's the asking, and then just understanding that somebody is up there just ready to give it to you. But then also, can you actually receive that? And a lot of people that struggle with affirmations also struggle with receiving.
Yeah. It's the receiving. I'm going to totally jump in on that. There's so many things that you said that I would love to touch on. Can I just say to the Instagram thing? So I was looking at my analytics and I had in the last 30 days, 68 follows and 67 unfollows. And I'm like, that's suspicious, but that's because they're not real follows. They're people who are searching your hashtags, doing the follow unfollow system. They're not real. And so much of social media is just not real. And it's just a game, which is why I have a hard time engaging in something that's not real, that's a game. But like you said, there are genuinely people out there who want your content and who are going to listen. And I want to just ask really quickly, because you talked about that it's scary for you to be creating content that you want to create to attract the people who want what you've got versus sort of kowtowing to those people who are unfollowing, getting into that space of what do I want to create? Why is that scary for you?
I feel like this is turning into a therapy session. I hate you. No, this is like, but I love it. It's honestly, it's scary for me because my thought process, even when I was growing up, is if I wanted something, I used to have 3 reasons in my head as to why I can support that want. So if I ask for something and somebody's like, well, why? And it's, oh, this, and this. And then it's just like, then you know that I actually really want this. And this is actually serious. And it's even like with the smallest things, like, oh, I want a cherry slushie. Why do you want that?
You have to defend yourself. You've got to rationalize your wants and defend your wants.
Exactly. And I think it came from this feeling of feeling unworthy or not deserving. Like I need to make sure that like I have my stuff together, even though like how often did that happen? Like never.
Yeah.
And then of course, as a result, I also became terribly independent as well. So there's a whole bunch of stuff there. But I say all that to say, when I'm like, ooh, I would love to do like a little video on this, the voices in my head are like, well, do people actually want to see that? People are going to think that's stupid. Does it have anything to do with what you're trying to sell? What is the reasoning behind doing that? And then I beat myself to death with a mallet. And then I'm just all like, then the energy of doing it is gone. Oftentimes, if I'm excited about something, I'm like, yeah, cool, do it. Like this feels really good. And then I have great results. But more often than not, especially when it comes to me sharing more of the spirituality stuff, I'm like, who are you to do this? And it also even gets into, in my head, I'm seeing myself from the perspective of people that don't know me anymore, people that knew me growing up, or like my ex-best friend, or people that knew me for how many thousands of years before they knew this version of me, because this version of me is different from yesterday and the day before and the day before that. However, I find this is that process, this is that habit that I need to change, because when I do create this content, who am I creating it for? Am I creating it for me or am I creating it for them?
Yeah.
If I'm creating it for them, then what do I want to give them? Do I want to give them authenticity, or do I want to give them what I think that they want to have so that I can do what? What is the purpose?
Or think based on thinking who you used to be. Like that's the other thing too. I think that's very relatable for so many entrepreneurs, that the personal growth journey in entrepreneurship, you change so much. And for people that aren't on that journey or aren't witnessing it day to day, it can be a shock that you're a totally different person. And so there's that, it's almost like a sense of loyalty. We hear all the time, don't forget where you came from. Don't forget us, the little people when you're big. We hear that all the time. I was watching a show and they referenced that, don't forget where you came from. And I thought, is that real, or is that crabs in the bucket mentality that keeps us from growing into who we could be?
This is a fun convo because it really, I feel like it comes down to a couple things. First of all, if you become big in whatever it is, let's say, for example, I have a friend from back home, became an actor. He's been in a whole bunch of like just different movies and all these different things. And what is the perception of who is he going to be now that he's big, right? Was he not the same person? Maybe he has more money, or he hangs out with different people, or he travels more. But authentically, if I was friends with you before, then how would that change? So are you thinking that his ego is going to change? What are those things? And then that gives us the opportunity to talk about our relationship. I'm very clear that I love rich people because I desire to be a rich person. I know some really rich people, like either in the entertainment industry or beyond, who are #amazing. So I know that when I become rich, and I'm very clear about whatever way the universe decides to give me my money, like what I'm doing with it. So and that it's just going to amplify the amazing person that I already am.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think about that?
What I'm hearing when you say that is that sort of adage that money makes you more of who you are. And so if you were a jerk before, money's just going to make you more of a jerk. If you are a caring, compassionate, kind person, money's going to allow you to extend that caring, compassionate kindness out to the world even more, right? Now, again, is that true? Like you had said at the very beginning of this conversation about starting to really challenge these thoughts, these beliefs, these things. I think that when we are given a colloquial sort of saying, we need to challenge it and go, is that real? So money makes you more of who you are. Is that real? Because we also have an infinite capacity for growth. Right? The more that we get outside ourselves and see other people, other cultures, other lived experiences, the more compassion, the more empathy that we grow, right? When we have money and we're able to get out of a survival state, that also opens up the possibility for growth and altruism and like these bigger conversations when we're not so focused on paying the rent, getting food on the table.
I feel like people cherry pick examples of eat the rich, right? Like we talk about Jeff Bezos. Well, you know what? Congratulations, Jeff. Like you have a whole gang of money. Go to space. Merry Christmas. However, I feel like with that, there's something to be admired for what he's built. However, do I want to win that way? Right? Or do I want to achieve that goal in that way? And I feel like he's going to be a very clear example to some people about there's some ways that you can get money and there's some ways that you can get money and then just do something different. There was this article I was reading that was talking about generational wealth and some of the most wealthy families in America and how the majority of them tend to hold on to their health by like tax rebates and like loopholes and all that sort of stuff, while there are so many other people that would qualify as being billionaires in America. However, they give away so much. And those people that are giving away those things, like we don't highlight them to offset the people's idea of being rich. I think it makes sense for a lot, like depending on what form of thought you like to hold on to. But if people make it so other people don't want to be rich, so they're not going to advocate for more money, they're not going to advocate for better healthcare systems or supplementation so people can go to school, et cetera, then they're going to be down here feeding that machine that isn't allowing these people to continue to grow their generational wealth. So there's a plethora of things attached to that, but it really comes down to the thought process of, what do you feel about rich people? How do you feel about rich people? How do you feel about yourself and your worthiness? Do you feel like you can actually have all the things that you want? And then are you worthy of them? And then when you actually step into saying, yes, I can do those things, I could have those things, I could ask for those things and not feel nervous about them, feel like this just makes sense. That's when all the magic happens.
And I'm going to totally add on to that too. And that is am I worthy? Yes. Also look into how you feel about wealth and wealthy people, and make sure that you're not cutting off your nose to spite your face. Make sure you're not saying, well, Jeff Bezos is not a good example of a good person at all. He is not a good rich person at all. And so for many reasons, the way that he exploits his workers and doesn't pay them a living wage, like his wealth is built off the backs of other people who are still in poverty, and that money he's not taxed at a fair rate that should be coming back into our society, into communities. He's not giving away money to support the betterment of society and our earth and our people. And so that isn't a good example, but that doesn't mean that there aren't, again, like you said, there are lots of great examples. And so making sure for yourself or folks listening, just because there are bad examples of wealth, you can be a great example of wealth. So make sure that you're not cutting off your nose to spite your face, and making sure you're not throwing away an opportunity to have that wealth and create a wealth and legacy for you and your family based on some bad examples. Like you can be the good example.
And I feel like if anything, especially after what you just said, this just gives me more motivation. To be a multimillionaire, because then I know that I have the ability and I know what I would do if I was in that position. Like all these people that are out here are like attempting to get like clean water. I can take care of that. I have the opportunity to make a change, to make a legacy for years to come. I don't really care if these people know my name. You'll find that people that are more caught up in some more of the egotistical part of this planet or the world are the ones that are not like doing the things that, you know, are really here to serve everyone. And the people that you don't know, the people behind the scenes, the people that are donating and like doing anonymous, this and that. There are millions and millions of people that are out there doing that, but we just don't know them as those examples of people.
And that's such a great point. I was at something with Danielle Laporte, and she was talking about how we have to be public with our giving. We have to be loud and public with our giving and our volunteering and our charity work and supporting causes, because the more that we are vocal and loud, the more we're going to influence other people to get involved and also show that, yeah, there are people out here doing good. Again, there's this sense, there's this belief that we have that this should be private, that it should be anonymous, that you shouldn't boast about charity and giving money and giving time. But it's the opposite, because it's the same belief around, you don't talk about money, right? You don't talk about how much you make, you don't talk about money. No, all of those things are keeping us from seeing who's helping, being a part of helping, shifting the perspective on how we help, taking us from a me to a we in our society.
I agree. This is such a delicious conversation, as per
usual. So for entrepreneurs who are struggling with their own imposter syndrome, their own not enoughness, their own resentment towards the bad wealthy, trying to figure out how they can be wealthy, but be good wealthy. Yes, I'm attaching a moral judgment to it. I don't know how I feel about that. I'll think about this later after we're done recording. But for entrepreneurs that are in that space, right? They're in, like you said, they're on the ship, the rain is coming down, the ocean is all over, and they're in this sort of tempest of, I want, but there's these things holding me back. What is your recommendation for people to start shifting their mindset around that?
I think the easiest thing to start with, and I know that we hear it all the time, is your why, because we often hear of people starting businesses because they want to make money, which again, if that's your goal, then Merry Christmas. We also hear about people starting businesses because they see a gap in the market and they think, oh, this is going to be an easy way to make a big imprint, whatever it is. Or it's something that you're absolutely in love with, you feel in alignment with, this is your purpose, that you're growing. What is your why? So for me, when I thought about building a business, I wanted to do something that definitely had market opportunity, that was able to grow, that was easily scalable, that I could make money while I was sleeping, but also that something that meant something to me and affected the change that I received in the magic that was personal growth in other people's lives. That was my main intent. Maybe I should update that to also be a multimillionaire, but whatever. So with that, if that is your why, if you're attached to that, then it makes it easy for you to say, oh, this isn't about me. This is about like the purpose. This is about the people that I'm here to serve. Now, if it is in fact about the money, then it's like, okay, what does that money mean to you? It could be, for most people, it means freedom. It could mean security. It could be like you're running away from something that you never want to happen again. But most importantly, that you're laying out a foundation for the people that you care about so they can have these different opportunities. They can have these legs up and the access to the things and the people and the places that you never got. So I think that is super, super important, is to take a look at that why, and not only just say, yeah, my why is this. I think we've talked about this before, like 3 or 4 levels deep. Like, why do you want that? Why is that important to you? Like why? And just allow yourself to, either through journaling or through a conversation. Sometimes I like doing it in voice notes, to just get that out there. But when you're actually looking at that piece of paper and you're saying, this is my why, this is the thing that's pulling me, this is a thing that the universe is also going to grab onto as an anchor that allows this motorboat to move forward.
Yeah.
That's going to allow you to continue to move forward. But then also, I want to say, shift you from a place of I have to, or I should, to like, I want to, I get to, I'm so excited to. And the universe is going to be able to like grab onto that and then pull you forward as well.
Yeah. I love that. I like your advice for drilling down on that why. Go deeper, deeper, deeper. Keep asking yourself, but why? What will that mean if I have that? Why do I want to get that? Why do I want to get to that place? Just keep drilling down. And obviously, if you're going to journal that, we're going to use a Please Notes journal.
You know what? I think that you'll have an amazing experience, because like, I know the quality of them. However, buy one.
I want to talk about your journals for a second, because, and folks, we're going to obviously have all the links for Cheryl's magic in the show notes. Tell us just a little bit about the creation of Please Notes. Tell us like the beginning and to where you're at now. Plus you have the cards now, which are amazing. You've got pins. You've got so many cool things.
Okay. So I think like my journey is not that different from most people that start a business. For me, I had gotten to personal growth and I changed my whole life. The way that I talk to myself, the way that I moved through the world, it just completely shifted, like the people that I attracted, the people that I like let out of my life. And so from Canada, I ended up moving to California because I decided, you know what, this would be a great adventure. So I did it within 6 months, 7 months, got my visa, drove down. Then I had the opportunity while I was there to work with different sets of female entrepreneurs. And I was really excited because both of them were in the personal growth world. I knew them through the specific company I'd done my work through. However, I could see the very clear correlation between how you felt about yourself and also how you actually operated, like your clear come from in the results in your business. So the first one, homegirl was shady. It was a mess. And then I ended up like jumping ship, and then the universe delivers. So like I ended up getting like another job with a friend who was like, I can't believe you stayed there so long. And I was all like, girl, you didn't warn me. Anyway, I got to America. So whatever. And then with her, it was funny because we're so similar in so many ways. And then I ended up just giving too much in that relationship and sacrificing a lot in that relationship. But where she was at, where her self-worth was so low, all that we could attract was more of the same, especially if you're leading a business.
Yeah.
Like if you're over promising and under delivering and then getting underpaid, it doesn't matter who you hire. Like you have to be the one to lead that ship. And so when I left there, I was just like, I'm just ready to do something for me that like, I know that lights me up, that does something that I feel like I'm actually giving somebody something, like I'm making an actual change versus like selling people, I don't know, PR packages or whatever. And then I actually wrote a list of what I wanted it to be. And again, some of those things that I spoke about before, I wanted to be able to do it everywhere. Like I could travel all the time. I really built the business around what are the things that I really want, whether I could do it in California, I could do it in Canada, I could do it on the beach in St. Vincent where my family is from, that it helps people, that I'm excited about it, like all these different things. And then when I got the idea for Please Notes, it was because I was really working on myself. I was working a lot with affirmations, doing a lot of journaling, and I went back into my personal growth process after I quit that last job. And I was like, wow, how easy was it for me to forget who I really was?
Yeah.
What I really cared about, how powerful I am as a person. And so I was like, I wish there was a way for me to have affirmations everywhere. And I was like, bitch, sticky notes. So that's where the first product came up, was the Please Note sticky note that had a different affirmation on every single page. And then you could literally surround yourself with those messages to say, yes, this is who you are and this is where you're going, and that you're being cheered on. And then from there, I was all like, I did not come here to start a stationery company. So what was the next step? And then I had the Clarity Journal. And the Clarity Journal I created was from my own experience of trying to figure out, who am I? Like, what do I want to do? What do I love? What is really impactful for me? How do I want to impact others? And what do I want to create? And then just going through the exercises in the Clarity Journal help you get, like, reorient yourself and re-anchor yourself towards the life you want to create. And then from there, everything else fell into place, like the mirror decals, the water bottle labels, the enamel pins are all reinforcements. Same thing with the affirmation cards. And then now I'm doing a guided manifestation planner. So this is my first planner, and I would be lying if I didn't say that I was excited as hell to launch this.
That is super cool. I cannot wait to see it. I created my business planner over the holidays and launched it this year. And those are a beast. They are a beast to create. Godspeed. I cannot wait to see what you come up with. Cause they're a lot of work. There is this weird thing where people are afraid of hard work. They don't trust hard work. They don't think that they have to work hard. And we hear all the time from uber successful entrepreneurs, how much work. It was a lot of hard work. And yet nobody believes them. Everybody thinks that it should come easy. And it's something that frustrates me. But that I also challenge myself on. I always go, does it have to be hard work? Maybe I'm working too hard. I'm like, no, it is hard work to get these things created and launched and promoted. That was a lot of preamble to ask you. I like to talk. What are your thoughts on hard work? Not excessive work, not burning out work, not dumb work that doesn't serve anything. Actually having to put in some sweat, some hard work.
It's one of those words like God.
Yeah.
Right? Where people will take it in different ways.
Yes.
it's one of those statements like self-made.
Yeah.
Where people will take
We are not going to talk about self-made.
We're not going to do it.
I referenced our self-made argument in another podcast, and I actually took it out because I was like, no, I'm not opening this can of worms. Friends, Cheryl and I have very different opinions on what the definition of self-made is.
But we still love each other. It's good.
Yes, we can agree to disagree that Cheryl is wrong.
So within those things, it's different. So yeah. I feel like when I think of working hard, I think of struggle. And that used to be my thing, is I was addicted to struggle. If I wasn't struggling, I wasn't working hard. Yeah. If I wasn't working hard, me achieving things wasn't worth it. So if something came to me easy, it had no value. If something came to okay. I know. Let's say, for example, like I had an order come through for like a couple $100, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. Versus if I had struggled with someone and go like back and forth, and then I finally land them, I'm like, yeah. I have been actively working with that concept of struggle and hard work. Yeah. Now, I like to say that if you are working on something that you're in love with, I would lie if I had said that there was not hard work involved. Yeah. Because the hard work is really stretching yourself to believe that you could do the things that you want to do, learning new things. Like I taught myself Photoshop and InDesign. Who does that? Apparently this crazy woman. However, was it a lot of time? Yeah. Was it a lot of energy? Yeah. Do I feel satisfied about it? Yeah, I do. And I think for me, that makes it so it's not hard work.
Yeah.
It's work.
It's volume, right? If we take out the word hard and just say volume, it's a lot of work, right?
Volume. Yeah, definitely.
And that is such a perfect analogy, comparing the definition of hard work to God or to self-made, like how there's different definitions. And I think for everybody out there, if you have an issue with the phrase hard work, look at what that means. Are you defining that as struggle? Because it can come easy. And that is where it ties back into believing in yourself and the affirmations and allowing yourself to receive. I feel like we need to hold a podcast just on that topic.
We could do it. We're scheduled for Thursday on mine.
Oh, we're doing your podcast. Okay, let's talk about receiving on your podcast. We're gonna do that. Then we'll just part one, part two. Let's do it. Yeah, because it is all intermingled, commingled. It's all mingled together.
Yeah.
It is do you remember swamp water? Did you ever call it swamp water when you'd go to the pop machines and you'd have every flavor?
Oh, I thought you meant like the bar, and then they had the stuff that was in
the adult version of the swamp water. It's like,
yeah, I'm picking up your swamp water.
Is the swamp water, where it's the mixing of everything, because it's so tied to personal growth, self-worth, childhood trauma. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
there's so much.
Right. Then the actual physical work, learning new skills, it's so tied together. And that is a lot of the hard work, as you said, is unpacking all of that and moving through one step at a time. Am I learning InDesign, or am I healing my parents' divorce? Like, what am I doing today in my business? Right?
Yay! What trauma are we unpacking today? I feel like these four are like, backpack. What trauma are we unpacking today?
What are we doing? Well, that's like when I launched the podcast, I launched it and I was like, yay, it's done. And then I had 2 days of feeling like garbage because all this stuff came up around just this inability to celebrate and not getting support or whatnot from family. Like, all this stuff came up. And I was like, oh, hello, you. Get back in the backpack, damn it. I want to be happy and not deal with this. But there is that invitation always to, when stuff comes up, let's look at it. Let's deal with it. Let's heal it. Let's move forward. That is a big part of what we started this very beginning of this podcast conversation with, which is that is the leveling up. These things are going to come up and we level up. We don't regress. And how we level up, right, is dealing with it. Oh my gosh, I love it. Cheryl, where do you hang out the most? Where are people going to be able to talk with you?
My phone number is stalkers. No, the best place is actually going to be Instagram, and that is going to be amazing. The Please Notes Goods is definitely the best.
It's going to be in the show notes. Please Notes Goods. You also have a podcast. Do you want to plug your podcast?
Yeah, it's called Navigating Mindfulness, where we have conversations like this. We talk about how we are taking personal growth and applying it to all 4 areas of our life. So the spiritual, the mental wealth, liberty. We also have the physical, and then our relationship goals as well. And so while you're building your businesses, you also have a life. So like, how are you again, continuing to level up, unpack some of these habits of thought and just continue growing.
I love it. Brilliant. All of these links are in the show notes. Cheryl and I are about to go record a YouTube video.
YouTube.
What? We're going to make it happen. You're going to get to see Cheryl's lovely face. And yeah, I can't wait. We're going to talk about what we're going to talk about because I got a couple of topics in mind. So we're going to go have fun over on YouTube here in a second. Come join us there. Friends, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Cheryl, thank you so much for being amazing.
Thank you so much for having me. Honestly, I was really excited to see that we were talking today because I was all like, I'm ready to move through some stuff. And every time I talk to Lindsay, like my life is just better. Like my shoulders are lighter. Like I feel energetic and energized. And then I actually pulled a tarot card today and it was the 8 of Wands, which is like fast movement. That's like action. Like things are falling into place. Yeah, because I'm talking to Lindsay. Yeah.
Yeah, get it.
hit it. Yeah. Anyway.
That song plays in my head way too much. Like way too much.
So much.
TikTok. Okay. All right. Cheryl, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Friends, thank you so much for listening to the amazing, brilliant Cheryl. Please check out the show notes so that you can go get more of her magic. And we will see you all real soon. Bye, Cheryl.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining me today. If you want to learn more about joining my community for new entrepreneurs and influencers who want to ditch the busy work and discover how to work less and play more all the way to 6 figures and beyond, please visit theradicalconnector.com. Check out today's show notes for all the juicy resources we covered. If you loved what you've heard, subscribe and leave a review. Happy connecting. I will see you online.